Hi, everyone. We're now starting, and I would just like to start by saying thank you so much for taking time to join us today as we have this very unique conversation on fundraising for millennials. And before we start, we can start with some introductions. My name is Naomi Sang, and I'm the communication lead for M-Changa. And with me are my colleagues, Michael Okinyi, who's the head of sales at M-Changa. We have Winter Mudeu, who is the campaigns and community manager at Thunder Fund. Rose Ndungu, who is the lead campaign manager at Thunder Fund also, and Rose and Caroline, who's the support team at M-Changa. And so I think we can now start, and maybe why crowdfunding for millennials. So first of all, what is crowdfunding? So crowdfunding is an advancement of the of what we know Harambee to be. It has come in to be able to make it more secure, make it more convenient, enable you to raise funds from people in different parts of the country, in different parts of the world, in simple ways of where you can now donate through Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal and such. And so when we talk and that is what we are talking about, crowdfunding. And now when we talk about millennials, there's the reason we chose millennials is because I think when you hear the word, you can think about there's so many biases that have been subjected on individuals who are millennials. And so even us as millennials, we are excited to hear and learn from the people who've gone before us and successfully raised. Yes. And so just to introduce M-Changa, because today we have M-Changa and Thunder Fund. This is a collaboration between the two fundraising platforms. So M-Changa is an online fundraising platform that provides Kenyans with a secure, convenient, and transparent way to raise funds. And so we have the aspects of security where we ensure that you are able to actually get to withdraw the full amount that you raise and not have one person, the treasurer, running away with the money. And also the convenience where you're able to manage your fundraiser at home in all the processes. And also in terms of being able to raise funds from different people in different locations. And so I will like to now welcome Caroline to introduce Thunder Fund to us. And then she's going to now introduce Rose, who's now going to take us to the session and be our moderator for the day. So Caroline, over to you.
Thunder Fund is a reward-based crowdfunding platform, and that's the main difference between Thunder Fund and M-Changa. Thunder Fund was launched in 2013, and it was primarily based in South Africa, but it was introduced in Kenya in 2019, and we've also expanded to Gambia this year, 2020. So what Thunder Fund does is it allows a large number of people to pledge small amounts of money into your project or your campaign. And in return for these pledges, you will be able to give them rewards. So for example, you want people to back you. Maybe you're a musician and you want to launch an album. So essentially what you will do is you're going to have rewards like maybe for 100 shillings, people can be able to pledge 100 shillings and you'll give them maybe a copy of your album or maybe, a social media shout out, depending on what you're offering. So that's the main difference between Thunder Fund and M-Changa. For M-Changa, it's more of donation based, but Thunder Fund is reward based. So I work at Thunder Fund together with Rose, who will be moderating, and Winter Budeo, who is one of the panelists. So I'm going to roll over the mic to Rose.
Thank you so much, Carol, for the introduction, and welcome everyone to this webinar. As Carol said, my name is Rose. I am the lead campaign manager at Thunder Fund, and I'll be moderating this session. So today we'll be talking about fundraising for millennials. And we do have two amazing panelists from both points of view. We have Asha Jafar, who is the program lead and founder of Kibra Food Drive. And we also have Winter Mutheu, who is the community and campaigns and community manager at Thunder Fund. So Asha will give us the perspective of someone who has created a fundraising campaign and has been able to raise money. And Winter will be able to give us the perspective from someone who has interacted with so many campaign creators and project creators and give us more insight and also advice. So first, yourself.
Hi, I'm already in, and I think my video.
Oh, apologies for that. We'll try to fix it, but continue introducing yourself as well.
Okay. Okay. So my name is Asha. Asha Jaffa. Born and raised in Nairobi, but particularly Kibera. In March this year, we started a fundraiser called the Kibra Food Drive. Immediately, the COVID-19 hit Kenya. And the reason why we started a food drive is because a lot of people lost their income and ways to sustain their families. So that fundraising was a way of asking people to donate so that guys can stay in the house, but also like continue to sustain their lives and also like not lose an income. And we were able to, from then up to now, we've been able to raise 3.5 million, which we have been able to provide food for 3,000 families in Kibera, families that lost their jobs, where like source of income. Yeah, so that's like my whole introduction.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We're happy to hear more as we continue with the session. I'd like Rita to also introduce herself real quick before we continue.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to be part of this forum. As you've heard, my name is Winter. I'm the campaigns and community manager at Thunder Fund. And I have been working with project creators, people who are fundraising. But like Rose said, most of the people that fundraise with us are small businesses or creatives raising funds for their project. So it's been a pleasure for me to work with people with amazing projects and love to talk to you about that today.
Thank you so much, Winter. So before we continue, I'd like our attendees to maybe mention where they're from. We know that we have people from all around the country and also from countries outside Kenya. So maybe briefly before we start, just pop in, tell us which country you're from, just to have an idea. And also, in case you have any questions during the session, feel free to include them in the Q&A section and also in the chat section. We'll continue to answer them during the session with the help of Carol and Michael, and we'll also have a Q&A session after. So we'll make sure to address all the questions that you may have. Yeah, I can see
as well.
Music. Yeah, welcome, Vincent. I can see you're from Tanzania. Costin is from Kenya. Welcome, Costin. Oh, we have Uganda as well. That's amazing. Hi, Richard. We also have someone from the USA. That's amazing. You see, we have quite a number of people from different continents, so that's great. So welcome everyone again. I'd like to start with my first question. And Asha, this question is addressed to you.
Okay.
So from your experience, especially being a young person, why did you end up considering using crowdfunding as a way of raising money?
Considering what we were going through during the period of COVID, like once it hit Kenya, is you couldn't move out of your house, you are restricted to one area, and crowdfunding to me was actually the best platform to use. Because everyone was at home, social media it was like the biggest platform at that time to actually like get people to mobilize and speak about an issue. Because previously, if we go to like office of NGOs and speak to them, but for me, like I felt crowdfunding was the best way to actually get people to donate because everyone was restricted in their own area. And it's actually like the easiest way for me because you just put it out on Facebook and you ask your friends to share it on Twitter and other platforms, and you can track like how many people have been able to donate how much, and like you can send thank you notes and stuff. So for me, like I felt it was mad simpler rather than leaving the house, going to meet someone else, physically, like having long meetings. Yeah, so for me, like I feel crowdfunding has enabled fundraising to be very simple, and it doesn't need like the bureaucracies of the NGOs and stuff. Yeah.
That's true. I believe most can agree that social media is a very strong platform. And with COVID, it's really restricted us to be at home and to be able to achieve a lot of the things that we need to do. So crowdfunding, the advantage is you don't really need to go anywhere for you to have a crowdfunding campaign. So that's great. Winter, to you, what is one of the main misconceptions that people have when it comes to crowdfunding or starting their campaign?
Thanks for the question. First, I'd just love to say that, Asha, I must say you've done an amazing job, and you're such an inspiration for young Kenyans and Africans.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
The main misconception that I see is people think, oh, well, and to be able to use a mobile device, because you can do it on your phone or on your computer. Yeah, those are the two that I'd say are the
That's
main
great.
ones.
Like people might think that with crowdfunding, you need a CV or qualifications. It's open for anyone at any part of the country. You can do it from anywhere. So that's great. I'd like to acknowledge Gloria from Malawi, who's with us as well. I can also see David from Kenya. So welcome everyone, and also Angela as well from Kenya. I'd like to proceed to my second question for you, Asha. What has your experience been so far? You had a goal. What was your goal? Were you able to surpass your goal within the period of time that you wanted? Or did it take a little bit longer? So maybe you can give us more about the experience once you had your campaign live.
Yeah, once we started, we began the last week of March. But like, because it was the beginning of the campaign, people were not aware of like what the food drive was about. There was not much information or awareness out there about what we were doing, so it was very slow. So like people, like I would say, like we were getting 150 every week, 150,000 Kenyan shillings every week. But going on, I think the more we became consistent, the more we told people we're still doing this. You can still fund, you can still donate, and you can still, support the campaign. It's when people started like donating, and that's how like we were able to rise from 150 to 1 million, 2 million, and 3 million, and 3.5. It's because of the consistency and communicating to also the donors, because even if someone sends $1, they expect you to communicate and say, hey, thank you. The crowd, I've used the M-Changa platform. It allows you to thank the donor. And it's also, that's very important to also like say, thank you, we're able to feed even one person or two people with the donation you were able to give us. If you can still donate again and stuff. And we've had repeat donors, which is actually a success. Because that's how like we were able to measure. People will just scroll through it, but what are you communicating to the guys that actually it's, you're asking people for money, so you owe them a lot. And for us is we kept communicating, and we asked people to share, and I asked like some of my friends who are in the media to also write about the food drive, because as much as we had an online fundraising platform, it needed to be put out there through other avenues. Yeah, so we got featured in other areas, and we said, oh, we are doing a fundraiser about this and this, but you can also donate through this platform. So we gave them the M-Changa link to actually go on the net. And yeah, so for me, I feel easy. Even I think with fundraising, is you not get money every week or every single day. There are days that are very low. So you find in March, April, May, June, we had the most amount of money, and then August it was a bit slow. And you're like, okay, let's re-strategize. Maybe we're using the online media a lot. Can we start calling people? Can we start asking other donors too? So it's also it's not does not have a linear line. So always like re-strategize, be creative, and always like ask for questions and ask like people for different ideas. Yeah.
From my experience dealing with quite a number of project creators, I believe you approach them differently, and they also have their own way of approaching the crowd as well.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main things I know that is important is that communication is key. And I believe Winter can also attest to this. You can also let us know what are the other things that people can implement in order for their campaigns to be successful, especially for the younger people.
I would say the most important thing is to have a plan. Crowdfunding can seem very exciting, so you just go straight to crowdfund, hoping that all your dreams come true, but you have to have a plan. You have to know, and I don't mean like a detailed business plan with all these things, just have, know what your goal is, what your objective is. Let that be very clear. You should be able to say that in one line. If somebody asks you why you're crowdfunding, you don't have to tell them a whole story. You should be able to just summarize what you're doing in one line clearly, and know who you want to raise money from, and that's knowing your target audience. Are you offering them anything in return? It might be different for if you're crowdfunding on M-Changa, which is mostly donations for causes. But if you're doing for a business or something creative, on like on Thunderfund, you'll need to know are you giving them anything in return? That's part of the plan you need to have. And the other part of the plan you have to have is the communications plan, because that's very important. As we can't stress that enough. You have to tell people, you have to thank them when they contribute to your campaign. And then if you're 1 week into your project, you have to tell them, here's our goal, here's what we've raised so far, here's how much we have left. So just have a communication plan. Know whether you want to talk to people on WhatsApp, whether your people are on email. So yeah, just take time to put together a plan, and it's hard to fail when you have a good plan. And even if you do, you will know where to re-strategize. Yeah.
Yeah, I also can't emphasize the things that you need to implement whenever you're creating your campaign. Asha, maybe you can also let us know, what are one of those things that you realized was not working for your campaign? What did you try to implement and you realized this didn't work well, and you had to figure out a way to re-strategize and find another way of implementing and making sure that your campaign is a success?
For me in the beginning, I feel like money is how will I say, like we've been born in like a very reserved, raised in a very reserved cultures or communities. So for me, like I was very shy. I was not able to ask for money, and for me, like I was like one thing that I thought like I actually discovered that was not working is my personality was actually not helping. Because with fundraising, you need to be out there. You need to be constantly remind people, I'm still asking for money. I'm still fundraising for this. So I had to push myself. And this is the problem that I think it's also like based on culture, is most like people would say like Africans are not good at fundraising. They will say, like, for example, I don't believe this, but for example, they will say like if you give a white person a startup, they will go and fundraise. And if you give a black person, they will feel shy, and they will know you. They will stay stuck in the same area. And for me, like that was, I felt like I needed to change that perspective, and pushed myself to actually communicate. And when people say no, it doesn't mean that it's not you. It's just that they can't actually give you money that particular time. Maybe if you ask for like, after 1 month, after 2 months, maybe they will give you, or they can refer you to someone else. So sometimes also like learning is your personality has nothing to do with what you're doing. That's what like I was able to learn. It has nothing to do. Just put your work out there, believe in yourself, and ask people to donate. And you're not asking for people to donate to Asha. You're asking people to donate to your cause, which is the food drive, which the different platforms like can allow you to describe your campaign and everything. yeah, so for me, like I would say, don't let your personality or what you think about yourself hinder you from pushing yourself and disturbing people out there to donate. Yeah.
It could either be a donation-based fundraiser. It could be someone who owns a business. If you give people the
Okay.
opportunity to want to help you, there are people out there who are willing. So it's true that one should not be afraid when it comes to asking for that extra help. That's very true. Winter, I'd like to ask, you have interacted with quite a number of project creators. What
Mhm.
is one of the main challenges or the main challenge that you see people having when it comes to creating their
I would say when you're creating your campaign, there are a lot of people want to really rush the process. They want to get to the crowdfunding part. They don't realize that it can take up to 6 weeks of preparation to create a good project. So a challenge I see that a lot of project creators have is rushing the process. If you take time to put together the plan in the first maybe 2 to 6 weeks, it depends on how big your campaign is and how far you want to reach. So if people take the time to slowly build the project, it's more than likely going to be a successful project. So that's one of the challenges that people have when they're creating. A challenge I see people have when they're running their project during their project is not being consistent. Asha mentioned that the first few weeks she didn't get as much as maybe she was hoping for, but because she kept asking, the numbers began to change. So people sometimes lose momentum, and a lot of times we say the crowdfunding process looks like a U. So in the beginning, you start at the top, then it kind of goes slow. Then when you're ending it, it ends at another high. So that middle part is a very challenging part, and you need to really be strong and remain consistent and push through, because it can be quite discouraging. So another part where the planning comes into play is in that because if you took time to plan what you're going to do every day, if you took time to plan that out, it's going to be easier to survive that use. So that's the few challenges I can talk about right now.
Guys, you can hear Winter repeating the word planning because it's very, very essential. We have come across, Winter, you can attest, a few project creators who will create a campaign and were not successful.
Yeah.
They take time and they approach it again later on. But when they approach it the second time, they actually now sit down and realize planning is a very, very important part. So we cannot emphasize planning, communication, very important. And from
If we
those,
get 2 words
yes,
from this,
exactly.
grab planning and
And
communication.
exactly. Now, from those
Yeah.
challenges, Winter, how would you advise someone to overcome them? Because we are talking to the younger generation who want to consider crowdfunding. How would you advise them in terms to overcome those challenges?
I would say a big part of the solution would be to, if you can, get help. If it's your baby, it's your business, it's hard to really bring someone in, or if it's your cause you're really passionate about, it can be really hard to bring in someone to help you with some things. But if possible, just get, if it's a business partner, maybe it's family, you can get your cousin who's good at social media to help you do the social media posts. If you can, get help, so that way everything gets done and all the pressure is not on you to get everything done, because you'll drop one ball if you try to do everything all by yourself. So if you can, get help, and get help with the planning and the execution.
That's amazing. Thank you, Winter. Asha, one last question for you. You have had such an amazing, successful fundraiser, and congratulations about that. Any other tips that you would offer that you realize have really worked for you when you had your campaign live and as you continue to raise funds?
I would say like even with the planning, have other mediums of communication. As much as social media is very huge right now, also like a number of people who actually have money are not on social media. So also like it's important to consider how do you communicate to the other groups of people. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry. How do you communicate to the other groups of people who are not on television and other ways of communicating, and also email and phone calls also work. So as much as social media is huge, don't also like always rely to it. It doesn't it doesn't always like give you the results you want. And also what the question was, what other things
what other things worked for you?
That I will say like I mentioned consistency, but also always tell your donors what to use the money for. For us is maybe like when we started receiving large sums of money, we were able to fund to like give food to 200 families every week. And we had to have pictures. We had to communicate on our social media platforms to also like let the people that actually donated know where this money went to. And if you get like a large donation, it's always good to send a thank you note, but also follow up with a phone call to just say, thank you. For the rest, you can do like email, it's enough. But if it's a large like sum of money, like 500, 100K, it's very important to actually call the person. The other thing for me, those two things actually work really well for us.
I like the point where you said social media is not the only means of communication. Us being the younger generation, we also have the older generation that have experienced a lot. If you're starting a business, if you're raising funds for initiative, most of them you might find are not on social media. Find other ways to interact with them. I know because of COVID, we might be restricted to be at home. Give them a call. They might also know people who know people who know people, So I really like that point. Thank you so much, Asha, and thank you so much, Rita, for the session. I'd like to now move to address some of the questions that our attendees have. And I'd like to hand this session over to Carol, to Michael as well. And Winter, you have amazing advice. So if you can also assist us as well with the question and answer session. So Michael and Carol, welcome.
Thank you so much, Winter. Thank you so much, Asha. That was really, really interesting. I've learned a lot. And Winter, I really like your part explaining the U in fundraising. That's really, really amazing for me. So for the question, Naomi, if you can just read for me the questions which are there, then I'll take my time to answer. Kindly.
Okay, sure. And
thank you.
So first, we have a question here from Costin, who asks, how do you get external donors?
Exactly is the Naomi, go ahead.
Maybe could I ask Winter, could you kindly go through the questions and assist Michael? Could you kindly read the questions?
Okay, no problem. He had started with Marcy's question, so I think we can proceed with that one. She's asking if we have a planner guide of how to start and what exactly is in the planning process of a crowdfunding campaign. Michael?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marcy. So as Naomi started by defining what crowdfunding is, first, I'm very sorry, I'll do without video for the purpose of connection. It will be strong if I'm doing without a video. So crowdfunding, it's as much as we are going to do most of your activities online, but we are also having an offline activities. So in planning, you need to come up with the plans which people am I going to target? Who are going to be my donors? How am I going to reach these people? So when you are thinking of how am I going to reach people, these people, you check, do I have most of my people in WhatsApp group? Am I going to target these people in Facebook? Or how am I going to get these people? So the how comes in that part of planning. So assuming you are raising money as an organization and maybe you are a team of 5, in planning you'll also decide that who will be handling social media, who will be thanking these people, or how are we going to spread the message. So that's majorly the planning process. Which fundraising platform are we going to use? Are we going to use M-Changa? Are we going to work for Discourse? Are we going to use, let's say, Thunder Fund? So the planning, you decide the platform to use, and once you decide on the platform, then you go to how are we going to go about this. So I think, Mercy, that answered your question. Kindly next, Winter.
Okay. In case it's not clear, you can just ask for clarification.
Thank you.
So the next question is from, just a second, is from Harvin. It's a lengthy one. So he's saying, I work with an ocean conservation NGO. When COVID hit, a lot of donors turned funding towards sustaining families and health causes. And understandably, the economic situation slowed down. Now that it's speaking up about us through Thunder Fund, which is project-based, or M-Changa, which is donation drive. Another thing that comes to mind is that my previous boss brought up is that as compared to the West, attitude towards donation towards causes like ours is very different. For example, in a place like the UK, people are easily convinced to set up a direct debit from their account towards a charity, which forms an important part of a continuous cash flow. How do we change that attitude in Kenya? So that, as Asha said, the target audience doesn't feel like, oh, we're asking for money again, and rather feel like how we all did when COVID struck, and did what we could to contribute to families that lost their livelihood. So I'm seeing two questions here, is how can crowdfunding work for the NGO type of campaign, and how we can change the perception of crowdfunding that people have for causes.
Thank you so much. So I'll start with the first questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that the COVID really affected the economic growth of all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are planning to do a fundraising, or if you want to raise as an NGO, there are first some of the things that you really have to consider. Once you need to know what are you going to fundraise for. Once you decide on the solution that you want to offer, then you package it with a story. The reason why I'm insisting on a story, some of these people, you'll share the link to them, and you'll not be able to interact, or you'll not be able to meet them. So when you come up with a story like Asha mentioned, they really wrote a good story explaining the way they are fundraising. Then you can also come up with photos relating to why you are fundraising, so that when you share with these people, they are able to read and relate to why you are fundraising. Again, the question whether you'll choose to use Thunder Fund or M-Changa, I think that it's upon your team, or as a team, you can sit together and decide on which one will work best for you. So for that, I may not recommend M-Changa, or I may not recommend Thunder Fund, but it's as you can decide on, based on the fundraising course that you want to do, which platform will work best for you. But I can tell you, between Thunder Fund and M-Changa, whichever you'll pick, you'll be able to meet your fundraising goal, and you'll be able to hit your target. So about the second question, Winter, I kindly pass that to you, please answer.
Okay, I'd like to add something to the first question. A very fast project in Kenya, so I can share that with you, so that you just see how that would look like if you wanted to start. The second question was, there's the perception that people have around crowdfunding, and especially for causes, and you don't want people to feel like you're constantly asking them for money. And we get that. One of the most difficult things, the challenging things that people report to us about crowdfunding is when you actually go to ask for money. It's not easy to constantly ask people for money. And I'd like to reiterate what Michael said. It's your story and it's how you package it that people respond to. So especially for like reward-based crowdfunding, you get the opportunity to give people a reward for what they're giving you back. So first you create your good story, compelling story that tells people why they want to be a part of what you're doing. That's a very important part. Then the next thing you want to do is consider what value, if I'm giving you my money, what are you giving me back in return? That's a very big question we all ask ourselves. What's in it for me? If you can answer that question for people while you're asking them for money, I think you'll get a much better response and a much better outlook. People will not view you as just asking for money. They will see your campaign as adding value to them. So that's something you can consider. We have a question from Costin. In Africa, you find people inclined to fundraising mostly in such situations, for example, funerals, accidents, more of sympathy inclined. How do you change this for welfare-based programs like planting trees? I feel like I might have answered this question while I was in my previous answer. Let me know if that did not answer it. We can revisit. Gloria is asking, how much should crowdfunding platform cost? Just asking for the planning purposes, and is the crowdfunding feasible for a non-governmental organization? I'll let Carol answer the crowdfunding costs for Thunderfund, and Michael can come in with the crowdfunding costs for M-Changa.
Okay. Thunderfund, you will be able to raise, and that is just for Kenya. In South Africa, we charge 7% of the amount that you raise. So basically, setting up your crowdfunding campaign is free. The only place that now you will have to maybe pay is now once you're done raising the money. So for Kenyan campaigns, it's 5%. But Gloria, I can see you're from Malawi, and we're not yet there at the moment, but those are the charges that we have for South Africa, for Kenya.
Yeah, those are the current rates. So basically 5 to 7%, and also an additional cost you would need to consider is when somebody pays money to your project, they're not charged for that transaction. That transaction amount is rolled over to you as a person who's running the project. So that's another cost. So if I'm sending 1,000 shillings or whichever currency, and it costs me 10 shillings to make that transaction, I, who is sending you the money, will not pay the 10 shillings. You, who is receiving the money, you're the one who will pay for that. So that's an additional cost you need to consider. Michael, maybe you can help us with the costs for M-Changa.
Thanks, I'll do. So Gloria, thanks so much for the questions. You are in Malawi. Also, M-Changa are currently, we are not in Malawi since we have to verify you when you are registering an account with us. So for now, we are still not allowing Malawian contacts, but we are working on that. So for anyone who is in Kenya, but if you're having a Kenyan number, you can register an account wherever you are. That is for everyone who is here. With M-Changa, you can do fundraising so long as you are having a Kenyan number. And why we are limiting that is for us to verify and authenticate your details. So M-Changa, we charge a service fee of 4.25%. And if we are having two withdrawals on M-Changa, you can withdraw the funds to your M-Pesa, or you can withdraw the funds to the bank account directly. So if you are withdrawing the funds to M-Pesa, we charge you a service fee of 4.25% plus M-Pesa transfer fee. That is of the amount that you are withdrawing. If it is to the bank account, then it will be 4.25% plus EFT fees. The EFT fees vary from 200 shillings, 400 shillings, 600 shillings, and a maximum of 800 shillings for anything below 500,000. For anything above 500,000, we only charge you a service fee of 4.25%.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Carol. Let me go to the next question. It's from Sis Angela. So she's Sister Angela. Could you please clarify to me how can I maintain fundraising throughout for sustaining the project? I'm not sure if I'm getting your question clearly. You can clarify in case I'm not. What I'm understanding is, how does one maintain the momentum during their project? How can one maintain fundraising throughout to sustain the project? I think we said a big part of being able to maintain the momentum is deciding in advance how you will run your project. So we give material and resources like a social media plan. If you're going to use social media, we have a 30-day plan with some suggestions on what to post on every day. So that would help you keep the momentum. So maybe on like the 15th day, you're tired, you don't know what to post, but you already made a plan before. So you know on day 15, I can give people an update. I can tell them we've raised this far, or I can tell them about our rewards or something like that. Then another way of also maintaining momentum is, other resources that we give you other than social media templates. We also give you like a communications, other templates like for email, what you can tell people at certain points of your project. Like when you're starting your project, we give you a template to reach out to people. You can customize it to what you need, but it just serves as a guide and makes it easier for you to constantly be in communication with the people that you need to be in communication with. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, just feel free to reach out again.
I think that answer. I just want to also add on M-Changa side for Angela. Just as Winter has said, always where I also want to respond in the same way Winter understood it. So always during the fundraising, it's important to thank your donors and continue engaging them, where you update them on how the fundraising is going. And in fact, if it contributes into the account, you can just write a brief thank you message and send to them. People like when they're appreciated. Even if someone sent you a little amount, always appreciate them. And also you just go to the story part and always let them know what is going on. You can also upload a photo there. I want to give an example that maybe you are constructing a library to support a certain community. So you can just take a photo when you are starting the foundation and update there in the part of story, upload an image there. When you get to the linton, again, take a photo and update people. When you are doing roofing, take a photo and update. So that makes people to be part of it. They'll be able to see that surely the money that we are contributing is really working. So continue engaging them each and every time that you are doing the fundraising. Give update. That's why M-Changa allows you to write a story in your fundraising. So you can always give a story, you can always give update through the story. On how the fundraising is going. So I think by always thanking your donors and giving constant updates, that will really help. And also, as Asha said, sometimes just pick your call and call these people and just thank them, just remind them that we are still doing our fundraising. I'm aware that there's donors fatigue. So if you don't continue engaging them and giving them updates, your donors may get fatigued and give up in the fundraising. Thank you.
Thanks. That's all the questions in the Q&A question. Let me see if there are more questions in the chat. Somebody is asking, how do you get to external donors? Do you mean donors that are not in your country? I would say this comes in the very beginning stages of your project, when you're thinking about your target audience, when you're thinking about the people that you want to reach out to, and if they are part of your target audience, I think at the point of planning, you need to create a plan of how you can reach out to them. So if these are people that you know, is it your family that is abroad, or it's just you're hoping to get donors just from outside of your country? I would say crowdfunding works best when you work within your networks. You're not limited to your network at all, because those are people that are more likely to support you. So we always encourage you, the very first people that you reach out to when you're running a campaign, let them be your family, your friends, people you know that will definitely support you. And once you generate that momentum, you're able to pull in people from outside your network, because they can see progress and they can see that this is a campaign that's likely to succeed. If I'm just on the internet and I see a project that's 30% funded in a week, I'll be curious to know what project this is, and I'll be more inclined to give. So I would say start by reaching out to your very closest people. Then once you generate that momentum, you can start targeting people outside your network. Then they're more likely to be drawn to your project. Michael and Carol, would you have anything to add on that?
Yes, kindly. I just want to add, I agree with you that when you are planning to do crowdfunding, always start with the people within your network. And also, we always know that when you are planning the people that you are going to reach, not everyone will support you by giving or donating money. So by sharing, you may contact me that, Michael, I'm doing this and I don't have money at that time. I may share it with someone else who will be able to assist you. So also, as you engage these people to contribute, also request them to share. And I just want to give an example. There's a lady who registered an account on M-Changa called Mrs. Green. She's championing for environment. So on account, she majorly received donations internationally, let me say from USA. And these are people that she didn't know at all. She has never met them. But upon setting up an account on M-Changa, she took photos of the seedlings, what she's doing, and just started sharing on her Facebook page, sharing even to the people that she doesn't know. So through sharing, you can be able to get people that are not even in your country. And it's very good to note that the crowdfunding that we are currently here, we allow even international donations, in that if there's someone who wants to contribute for you through credit cards, M-Changa allows for Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal. So you are even able to receive donations for the people who are not within your country. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. I totally agree with what you're saying. Gloria is saying this has been really eye-opening session. I wish you are here in Malawi so I can plan to fundraise. We started in South Africa. In 2 years, we have expanded to Kenya and Gambia. That's Thunder Fund. And we're really working towards serving more African countries. We are planning, and we just looking through the chat to see for any other comments and questions. Kusimba is asking, how would millennial crowdfunding be different from the needs or process with older individuals? Is it in terms of project or the use of different kinds of technology or other ways? I personally would say it would be different because of the kind of approach that we take, and also the tools that are available to us. I can say that somebody who's maybe 60 or 50 might not be as open to doing something online as they would just calling their networks, calling the people they know. So for us, we have different ideas. We have new ideas. As young people, we have social media, and the kind of business ideas we have are more probably tech and such kind of oriented business. So that's how they would differ. And we might not have like the connections that we would want. Maybe we don't know enough people in an industry that we're interested in. Maybe someone older would just need to make a phone call to raise this kind of money. But for us, we would need to really put our project out there to make the kinds of connections that we need. So those are the kind of differences I would say between us and someone maybe older. Michael, might you have?
No, Winter, I totally agree with your points. I'll just be doing a repetitions. There's a comment
Okay.
from Vincent Temper. Vincent Temper, we've seen your request. Kindly, we will follow up with you after this meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Vincent Temper from.
We're running out of time. We have 2 minutes left. So let me see if we can answer one last one real quick. If we don't get to your question right now, we can always, we are available. All of us in the panel, we are all of, well, I'm not sure about Jafar, but Rose, Carol, Michael, Naomi, and I, we're all available to answer your questions. So don't panic if we don't answer your question. We have our email addresses here and we'll reach out to you. I think that's it, actually. I think we've covered everything. Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you, and I hope this was an insightful forum.
And Naomi also for having this webinar with us, for creating it and the partnership between us and M-Changa to give guys as much information as possible. We'll make sure that we send out emails that will have a link to the video, links to both our platforms, and also a link to Asha's campaign. You can check it out, contribute if you feel like, and you can always respond there and ask any further questions that you may have. So I'd love to end this session, but again, thank you everyone for participating, and do have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you
Bye.
so much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.